Okay, welcome to this webinar this morning. We're going to jump straight into one of the models within the training. So within the successful developments model, we have a number of stages which we go through to ensure that the project is delivered effectively, efficiently and compliantly. One of the models is about understanding parts of the process, and one of those understanding learnings is who is involved and when you need these guys, and also how long they're going to take to carry out their element of work. So with that knowledge, we're able to produce a program and then a cash flow forecast off the back of that program. So we're going to jump straight into the wider understanding of the build model, which you can just see on the screen behind me there. And we're going to just cover briefly the letter D, which is all about durations within the project. So we're going to discuss how long a project's going to take, and that's from start to finish and all the steps in between and how long each element takes to get us to the end result. So when you are taking on this project, have you assessed or estimated a period that work's going to take in total and broken down? And does the borrowing that you have set aside or set up ready to deliver the payment for that project, does that align with that assessment? Okay, so it's no use having a project that's going to be finished in 3 weeks, say, but the finance for that project isn't coming in until another 6 or 7 weeks, because you won't be able to pay your bills at the end. Another common mistake is drawing your finance down too early. So is getting your finance all lined up and then pulling on that bridging like 6 or 7 weeks before you're due to actually purchase it. So that money's just sat in your fund, and you're accruing your interest payments on that money that you don't need yet. And then we're going to discuss the impact of not programming at all and what effect that's going to have on your build, how that will make things drag out longer than what you anticipated. Once we've produced a program, we're going to look at producing a cash flow forecast and how that is used to support your program. And all of these things, these programs and these cash flow forecasts, they can be done on the transition between exchange and completion. So once we've got that property nailed, we've got the offer accepted, and we're going to be moving to purchase it, use that time wisely. And this is when these administrative tasks can be done in that period. Surveys and designs, they can all be done then also. So what do we need to survey and design? So we've got kitchen designs to get in, maybe an RSJ to fit if we're knocking a wall out, any planning permissions or building regulation submissions that need to be done. Any of those things, use this time now rather than purchasing and then carrying out these works, because these surveys and stuff could take between 4 and 6 weeks to get in, particularly if you're involved in planning. So use your time wisely. Try and get these things in before your finance has landed. So if your finance is going to land and then you do it, you're paying interest on money that's sat in your bank that you can't spend yet because you can't do any physical work. So yeah, as I just said there, these are the type of things that you can sort of administrative tasks that you can do during that period. So listed building consents, conservation notices, ecology surveys, for if you suspect or there is bats and newts on the site. If they've been identified in previous planning applications, you'll be able to find that sort of information. And I touched on there a second ago as well there about building control surveys, submissions. So also we can use that time if we are going to do an extension, we can get them drawings done. We can start our procurement process and start developing a supply chain. That's approaching your builders, local tradesmen, suppliers, your local merchants, where you're going to be buying stuff from. Start negotiating these rates. If you can play one kitchen supplier off another, and it will drive those rates down. Window suppliers as well. There's a vast difference between pricing of window suppliers. One unit might be £200 from one place and £600 from another for the same window. So do shop around for your windows. Kitchens and bathrooms as well. So get your suppliers nominated. Do it now whilst you're waiting. Use this time productively and wisely. Heating and electrical designs. If you're doing something like apartment conversion or HMO conversion, those electrical supplies and heating supplies, they need to be designed. Don't just expect a heating engineer to just rock up and fit them. Those things will need to be done properly. Damp surveys as well, so you can get a damp report done on the property. Most companies, larger companies, are going to provide you that survey for free, provided that you engage with them to carry out their works thereafter. Asbestos survey. So this needs to be done if you're going to be doing any sort of demolition work, anything like that. You don't want to be exposing your tradesmen or even visitors to, or your future tenants to, asbestos within that property. So we're going to move on to a quick exercise. Good saying there from Abraham Lincoln. So it's all about planning. So give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I'm going to spend 4 hours sharpening the axe, and that's all about planning. So a quick exercise on programming. There you can see that it's quite an in-depth program. But what that does is that's going to program my work from start to finish. This is for a project that we've got coming up, commercial to residential conversion. So we identify the tasks down the left-hand side, and then we're going to put a start date, a duration, and a finish date, and that will plot out our lines as it comes down the program. So when we sit in a classroom training, this is something that we discuss and we do and we learn and train into in depth. So you'll be comfortable leaving the training and to be able to do this kind of thing yourself. But what you must understand before being able to produce a program is the build sequence. It's the build process. How does that building or that renovation come down? How does those lines cascade? So do you know when the plasterer needs to come in? Do you know when the plumber needs to come in? So what we're going to do on to next is a quick breakdown of sequencing based on a single house refurbishment. These things become a bit more complex when we're going into apartment conversions, HMO conversions, stuff like bigger tasks. The sequencing is basically the same, but there's just some more things to consider. So the first thing we're going to do on pretty much any project is the demolition, the rip out, the emptying of the property and getting everything out that's going to be replaced. So as I said there, anything you can get rid of, now's the time to do it. Anything that's coming out, organise your skips if you're doing it yourself. Consider where that skip's going to go. Is there an off-road site for it, or is it going to go in the highway? If it's going in the highway, you need to be looking at permits, which you have to pay your local authority for in most instances. Your skip company will manage that for you if you contact them and ask them. They're going to charge you for that service, but it is there for you to use. Rip out's always noisy and dusty, so do consider informing neighbours, neighbouring properties, particularly if there's a neighbouring business, that you're going to be doing this type of work, and make your apologies. Drop in every now and again and just how's it going? Appreciate your patience. We're going to be done then. Give them a program if you've produced it. So next thing you need to be doing after demolition, sometimes it's going to need to come during demolition, but you need to be sorting out the services, isolating the services. So if you're going to have electrical connections, water, gas, radiators, things like that, if they're all in there and going to be replaced, or they're in the way of a replaced product that's being replaced, say a wall's coming out with a radiator on it or something like that, those services need to be isolated, turned off for the duration of the work until such time that they're needed back on again. So if you're doing a bathroom, it's a common mistake we see is during the rip out, the demolition guys, they go in and they rip the toilet out. Now that's going to cause you issues with welfare for guys following on behind them. If it's important and it's intrinsic that toilet does come out at rip out for whatever reason, then you need to be considering temporary toilet hire. You can get these things for 30 quid a week and they'll be serviced and cleaned for you for that price. But do consider, if it's possible, leave that toilet in till the very last minute. Your guy that's doing the bathroom isn't going to have an issue with ripping out a toilet when he's due to fit the new one. It won't be a problem. Any new walls of stud-work and brick, they need to be built now. So we've got the skeleton of the structure is up and ready. Your first fix joinery and electrics can go in now. So what am I talking about? First fix joinery. So stud-work carcassing, any staircases, things like that you generally don't see after the work is complete is your first fix. So your stud work, door liners, all of those type of things. If you're going to be doing any MF ceilings, they can go up at this point as well. First fix electrics. So your first fix electrics is all the cabling that's going to be ran to all your switches, all your power points, any smoke alarms if we're doing a rental, apartment conversions or HMO conversions are going to need your fire cabling running round as well. First fix plumbing as well. If you're burying the pipes, they want to be in the studs as well. If you're going to be exposed afterwards, then they can be done later. But generally, you want your pipe work to be done at this point. If you're replacing your windows, try and get them done as early as possible, so you're not having to patch in plaster or tile work or anything like that if they're done at the end of the job. If you get them done nice and early, when you plaster your reveals on the inside, you can take them up to a nice finished edge. So when all that's done, so you've got all your first fix done and your windows are in, we can look at plasterboarding. So that's now boarding all your ceilings, walls where necessary, any stud work can be covered up. All of that can all be boarded now, and then skimming over the top of that. So after we've got our skimming done, we can start considering kitchen fits, bathroom fits. Second fix stuff can start happening now. So decoration can start, any tiling if we're doing kitchen walls, bathroom walls if we're tiling or cladding, whatever that is, it can be done now. Moving on to the flooring, again if it's lino, laminate, tile, whatever it is, that can all go down now. And after the tiling's done, we want to be looking at finishing and snagging. Always externals. Don't ever forget your externals. I do harp on about this a lot. It's a very easy thing to not dismiss but overlook. We're so excited to buy that property and we're going to get in and get it done, but we tend to forget the outside, and there's always a big cost to it as well. So after we've done the externals, we're looking at clearing site after that. And then the bit what we all love most is we're finished now, so we're going to rent that property out or sell it, or whatever our strategy is at the back end. So what we would do now in a classroom is I would issue this blank program now, and we would talk through the sequencing of our own projects if we've got one ongoing or we've got one planned in the pipeline. Bit of one-to-one, and we can say, look, this is where you need to be, detailing your tasks, your start date, giving you an indicative period for that task, completion date, and then we'll show how that Gantt chart comes down. It helps you move forward to transposing that program into a cash flow forecast, and you can better manage your finance for that build. Okay, hope that's been helpful for everybody, and speak soon.